The Burning House. In Resources for Teachers and Students of the Makula Center for Applied Ethics at Santa Clara University, the following post can be found. Activist Harry Belafonte shared a similar moment about his friend. Midway through the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. realized that the struggle for integration would ultimately become a struggle for economic rights. Belafonte reflected, "I remember the last time we were together at my home, shortly before he was murdered. He seemed quite agitated and preoccupied, and I asked him what the problem was. According to Belafonte, King responded, "I've come upon something that disturbs me deeply. We have fought hard and long for integration, as I believe we should have, and I know we will win. But I have come to believe that we are integrating into a burning house. I'm afraid that America has lost the moral vision she may have had, and I'm afraid that even as we integrate, we are walking into a place that does not understand that this nation needs to be deeply concerned with the plight of the poor and disfranchised. Until we commit ourselves to ensuring the underclass is given justice and opportunity, we will continue to perpetrate the anger and violence that tears the soul of this nation. I fear I am integrating my people into a burning house." Since some have questioned whether Dr. King actually said those words to Belafonte, the following quote is from Isidore Fitzroy in the Quora blog. He never said that exact quote, but secondhand accounts, particularly of Harry Belafonte, have him privately expressing the sentiment that, "For all the steps we've taken toward integration, I've come to believe that we are integrating into a burning house." In an interview with NBC News, he expressed a similar opinion, stating, "I must confess, that dream that I had that day at the March on Washington has at certain points turned into a nightmare." In the post-World War II period, after the atomic bombs had been dropped and the Cold War had begun, 5 major developments began to occur with the intention of ending the promissory note for all humanity that is enshrined in the founding of the U.S. and secure the eventual enslavement of all of humanity. These 5 developments collectively are the burning house. Number 1, the introduction of the rock, drug, sex counterculture. 2, the rise of the global exploitative financial empire. 3, the rise of the ecology movement and limits to growth. 4, the endless wars. 5, the rise of the post-industrial society and the poverty pimp state. The rise of the rock, drug, sex counterculture. One of the secrets of the rise of the expansion of the British Empire was the drug trade. After World War II, this empire, which was on its knees economically, began to chart a comeback, this time targeting the United States and the rest of the world as the victims. As the drug trade and penetration and corruption of the U.S. occurred, the funds from the drug trade and related criminal enterprises flowed, ultimately, into a growing number of offshore island financial centers under the City of London banking system. Alongside this growing assault on the U.S. and world population with drugs came the culture to go with this assault. The British elite during the 1950s was preparing this assault by studying the Dionysian cults of ancient Thebes in Greece, where the children of the rulers of Greek cities were brainwashed with drugs and heavily hypnotic percussive music into going back into their cities to kill their parents. This is the model of the ensuing counterculture. Anthropologist Dame Margaret Mead played a key role in promoting this through her false account of teenage promiscuity in Samoa and her involvement with the CIA. There were many other players in this. This went back to the 1920s and Bertrand Russell's and H.G. Wells' open conspiracy to use drugs, the destruction of national languages, and the destruction of classical music. The rise of the speculative offshore financial system. The original post-World War II system of trade and fixed sovereign national currency between nations called the Bretton Woods system was gradually destroyed and replaced by 1973 with a floating exchange system, which has been destroying nations and their sovereignty ever since. The use of the drug trade and creation of illegal tax havens in places like the Cayman Islands is one of the ways the sovereign credit of the United States was gradually subverted. By the time of the Civil Rights Movement, there was profound shifts away from the productive economy to one based on speculation. All this coincided with the Vietnam War, which drained the financing intended for internal improvement and development into the war and into the emerging global offshore financial system, leading ultimately to a global dollar not under the control of the United States.